Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I'm so excited to have this discussion with Jourdan. First of all, welcome. My name is Deshauna Grimsley. If you may or may not know me, but I'm all over Instagram, YouTube, just talking about finances. Growing up, I watched a lot of people work so hard and try to make ends meet, and I felt as though they never got a chance to enjoy their money, to build wealth, and make sure that the children or the legacy that they're leaving behind will not have to struggle, will not have to work as hard. So I started this business, Tell Me More Consulting, with the goal of educating people about finances. So my name is Ishana. I'm originally from New Jersey, and I currently live in DC. I have been following Jourdan for some time now, and he is killing the game on Instagram, sharing a lot of tactful tips. You know, we have a lot of people talking about things that they might not be honest with, but I feel as though I see the results with Jourdan. I've experienced the results, and I've actually talked to a lot of other people who've experienced the results by using his tips. So I thought it would be a great opportunity to bring him here. So Jourdan, I am going to step to the side to allow you present yourself. Before he begins, guys, make sure you hold your questions to the end of the session. But if you have any questions while he's presenting, feel free to put them in the chat. He is going to answer all the questions. Even if you drop off and you want to join back up, he's going to answer your question, and I will be posting this video on YouTube as well as Facebook at the end. So Jourdan, I will step back.
All right, hey, thanks for having me again. I'm glad to be here. I didn't know you talked to people about me. You over there having secret conversation. I guess you had to make sure I was legit. That's something I hear about a lot of times is people run into people who, like you said, really don't know what's going on or don't know what they're talking about or yeah. Well, anyway, we're not here for that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and start sharing my screen. Hit that share. All right. Like she said, you can feel free to drop questions in the chat. I'll review them all at the end, just in case as I'm speaking, I go over something that was a question of yours. To introduce myself, kind of, I've been in the market for about 12, nope, not 2012, 9 years now. Um, so I've seen a lot of things. I've read a lot, grown a lot. I didn't have somebody who was there to kind of guide me through. So a lot of people ask why I even do what I do. It's because I didn't have somebody there to guide me through as I was learning. So I made a lot of mistakes on my own, and those mistakes, unfortunately, cost a lot of money. So my main thing is to help people who, one, don't have the education necessary to go out and start utilizing the stock market to make themselves money, to provide them the education. And then secondly, everybody doesn't have money to spend or burn in a sense while they learn as they go. So that's the second thing is I like to make sure that I give a lot of information up front so that people get the education necessary to avoid certain mistakes. Because one hard-earned lesson could cost you $1,000 or so, and you rather learn before so you prevent that. So we're gonna go ahead and get into it. These are the main topics I'll be covering today. Just the benefits of investing, touching on 401k some, and then picking a brokerage. So when I get asked about savings accounts, this came up. I did another live yesterday, and they asked, what do you prefer as far as putting your money more into the stock market or into a savings account? And my response was, when was the last time your savings account made you a 10% return with you not having to do anything? It doesn't, right? So while the market does have its ups and downs, right, the market doesn't go up all the time. The fact of the matter is, year over year, since its inception, it's returned an average of about 10.5%. So your savings account, which isn't returning you anything at the end of the day, doesn't really hold a candle to it. You do have access to your money easier in a savings account, so it's more liquid. But any money that you don't need easy access to, you obviously can get more growth by putting it into the market. And again, it's different markets, of course. Just touching on investing in general, there are different markets you can invest in. So keep that in mind as well. It doesn't have to all be the stock market. Now, the other thing is with the stock market, you can build passive wealth. Now, what I mean by that, which is separate from passive income, is that the money is going to be growing and accumulating over time. So you can put money in an account now, and then 20 years later, it will have grown, choosing the right source, but it would have grown greater than you would have expected, or greater for sure than if it was put in a savings account. So that's one of the main things the stock market allows you to do is build long-term wealth. That can be passed down generations through your family. So that's another key benefit of the market. Then the passive income side of it. Majority of people are on a quest to kind of retire, right? Get away from their traditional 9 to 5 type life, so they can have more time, whether it's more time to themselves, more time to start something that they're passionate about, more time for their family and children. Because one of the things that people always say is, on their deathbed, nobody ever says, "Oh, I wish I worked more." It was always, "I wish I had the time to do this and do that, or go experience this." So with the stock market, through certain types of investing, specifically dividend investing, you can gain passive income from these companies that are doing payouts, typically quarterly, some monthly, some semi-annually. But again, this is money that will be coming to you passively. And then, like I said, you can pass it down to your children's children, whoever, right? You can spread out that wealth that's accumulated long term. You can use the market for your children's college fund, for big events, right? So if your child is day one, right, they come out the womb, you start an account, you set up something that's going to put money in, automatically, say $100 a month, right? Over time, not only will that $100 a month saving start to build up, but the interest that you earn, or those gains that you earn, will start stacking as well. And so then by the time they're 18, 19, heading off to college, they'll already have something where, in many cases, you'll be able to have their college paid for completely from that fund if they don't receive scholarships, which of course, get the scholarships so that money can stay in there and keep growing. Then we have your 401k, which I find a lot of people don't really understand what's in the 401k, don't really understand what it is, how it works. So, of course, it's in a retirement account, and the money is invested on your behalf. So, it will be typically through your company, where they might have a 401k match, or they just have a 401k plan in general. Long story short, your money just gets put into a fund. And the fund will typically be composed of a bunch of stocks. It might be some bonds mixed in there, but that's all it is. So the thing is, there's certain funds. If you really go digging, this is what I did. I still work full time myself. The position I'm in is a commission based position, which is the only reason I'm really there, is because I can get more money based on the value I provide, and I'm very big on value and producing. So that's why I'm in a commissions position. But anyway, I started digging through, and I found that the fund that I was automatically put in was a retired 2026, not 2026, 2065 fund, set up to, if you put this much money in, you'll be able to withdraw and retire in 2065. I said, man, that's not going to work. So I went through, we had certain funds on there. I went through and found different funds. They had small cap funds, large funds. They had tons of different funds on there to choose from. So if you want to actually start getting the most out of your 401k, I think you should definitely dig into it and see what options are available for you with your money, because you can still choose where it goes. So I went in there and I found out that the fund I was in automatically was averaging about maybe a 3% gain, when there was another fund I could choose from that was a growth fund, and it was averaging 20% gains. I said, okay, well, look, man, just get me out of this, put me in the growth fund. So again, look into your 401k, see where your money is going. Because it is good that it's automatically pulled. It is good if you have an employer match, but again, you want to be getting the most out of your money. I'd have to ask anybody, you would say, hey, if I could take $1,000 and get 2,000 at the end of the year, or if I could take 1,000 and get 3,000, you'll take the 3,000, assuming that the path is still the same. So I say definitely look into that. Roth versus traditional accounts. That's something that comes up often as well. The main difference between the two is that Roth, you get taxed when the money goes in, so you can pull it tax free. Traditional gets taxed when the money comes out. So if you feel like you'll be in a higher tax bracket actually start withdrawing. And I believe the age is 59 and a half for you to withdraw without the penalty because it is a retirement account. So if you want to do that and you feel like you'll be in a higher tax bracket at that point, you should definitely go Roth, or you can go traditional if that's the way you feel is easier for you. But typically, people will go with the Roth because that growth, they won't be getting taxed on the gains because it gets taxed when it goes in. Finally, picking a brokerage. Okay, there's so many different brokerages out there. You have some that are very user friendly on apps. You have some that are mainly on websites. You have some that are huge, some that are new, and it's a lot. And the main thing is, like pretty much everything relating to how you use the market, it all depends on you. So take for example Robinhood, which kind of came up as one of the biggest platforms lately, especially because they cater towards beginner investors, and they have no commission trading, right? So there's certain benefits of you being able to make trades without commission, whereas some of the bigger ones, are not bigger necessarily, but a lot of the older ones, a lot of the older brokerages, they have commission fees. So when I first started, I meant to click on the chat, but I hit the slide. I'm gonna leave it here though. When I first started, I was trading with, I believe it was Capital One. They got taken over by E Trade, I think, but they were charging about $5 per trade. So looking at the chat, yeah, I'll come back to the chat again. So they were charging about $5 or $7 per trade. So benefit of it though, benefit of it is that you actually have to take more detail and more precise action on what you're doing, because if you're paying per trade, well now hey I'm not about to just trade willy-nilly. I need to be more calculated. um, so then there's other brokerages like Fidelity, which is more towards long-term. Vanguard, typically Wells Fargo, those type of accounts that you're getting in on there typically again are more focused towards your long term. And then you have TD Ameritrade, Robinhood, Webull, M1 Finance. There's a lot of them out there, and those are more geared typically towards people who are actively trading. Okay, so as we move towards the industries, and these are just a few different things. There's sectors, there's industries, and what I really wanted to hone in on were kind of low risk, medium risk, high risk, right? So, looking at the lower risk options, you have technology, you have healthcare, and again, there are others, but these are just kind of key points, right? So, you think about healthcare, that's something that's going to have to be around, especially as we have this pandemic going on that's been going on since 2019. So now it's 2021 and we're still dealing with it. You see, healthcare is going to be more of a prominent thing to the future. And you have technology, which makes perfect sense because we're moving everything moving towards more of a digitalized platform. We had Blockbuster and the VHS, and that's about as old as I am. I'm sure somebody else on here might remember whatever came before that. But we had the CD players, right? Like all of that, and now it's all on our phones, on our laptops, right? So it's all just put into one device. So that's just one key example of how technology is just one of the things that's continuing to grow, which makes it more of a lower risk thing to get into because it's becoming, the thing that comes through everywhere. Now we have all the cars that are electronic and auto drive, auto park, so technology again is the huge thing coming now. So that's why I put it in a lower risk category. You have energy, commodities. Those are areas where there's a lot of changes going on. So I put them in more medium risk, because, with energy, you have different types. Of course, you have solar companies. I think there's some wind energy companies, just renewable energy in general, oil companies, right? And we're starting to see some things that get shaken up in that area. Commodities as well, with gold, silver, copper, that sort of thing. Again, starting to shake up some, as we move, especially as we move towards crypto more, which I'm not going to touch too much on, but I will. Um, so again, that's more of a medium risk area. It's been consistent, but again, things are starting to get shaken up in those two. And then higher risk is looking towards something that is more up and coming, because it hasn't had full, acceptance or full adaptation yet, which is why I put it as more higher risk. So you have the cannabis industry, as it's starting to get legalized across the country in different spots. But again, it's the difficulty comes in choosing and finding which which companies are the best to actually get into because they're pretty much all new. So they're all newer companies, or they don't have much financial data for you to look at for the past to see, how consistent they are turning a profit. A lot of companies, just in general, like Amazon, for example, Amazon didn't turn a profit for a couple of years. Tesla, I remember they were reporting that they weren't making money for a while too. So those companies were probably losing money because they were focused on growth. So again, this makes it a little bit harder to gauge which ones are the ones that might have the better position. And then blockchain technology, that's the whole thing tied to crypto. And again, crypto is something that's getting, more accepted here and there. We haven't fully, put it into our regular day lives. But again, that's something that might produce a high risk, high reward type area because it's starting to get more accepted. So speaking on high risk, high reward, again, there are certain spots like cannabis, like the cryptocurrencies that can provide you a higher reward, but again, at a higher risk, especially when you look at the volatility. So if you go and look at cannabis companies, you'll see that they have a lot of wild swings because they'll get a lot of hype and people think this is the next big thing. Then they'll drop off, or they might some big news come out, they'll run up, they'll drop back down, they'll run back up. So there's a lot more volatility, a lot more movement that comes with those. Same with cryptocurrency. You'll see there's so many cryptocurrencies out there, but you see again, same sort of thing. Well, they'll have huge moves up. They'll double or triple in the same day. Triple in the span of 3 days, maybe. So they'll have huge moves up. They'll have huge moves down, where they'll lose. Some of them have lost half of their value in one day, right? And so just in general, as you look towards creating investment choices, trading choices, you have to keep in mind the risk to reward, figure out if it's worth it. And it's different strokes for different folks. Like I said, everything that you do with the market is going to be tailored towards you. So if you're kind of more well off, you're not really pushed for money or anything, and you want to start an account for your son who just came out, yesterday, came out their mom yesterday. I need to figure out a different word for that. But your son that was just born yesterday, you started a fund for them or an account for them, and you want to save it and set it up so it's ready when they're 18. Again, if you're kind of more well off, you can afford to take on a higher risk approach and try to get some higher gains while they're, going up to middle school. Around that high school is where you probably pull back and say, yeah, I can go aggressive, but it's probably better to be conservative, make sure this money is protected. So another thing is options trading, which I would love to do a talk on, but options is like its whole separate world within trading. But essentially, options is like a multiplier on your regular shares. So you could take a stock that moves maybe 2% one day, and if you bought the stock, you get a 2% gain. The option for that stock or option that stock might have gained 40%, 30%, 50%, that same day off of that 2% move. So options, have higher return potential. By the same token, they have expiration dates, which if they don't make the move you're looking for, you lose your complete initial investment if you hold on to it till the end of the expiration date. So again, options vary, high reward level, also higher risk. And that's something that would need to be talked about on its own separate session. And then penny stocks, another thing that gains a lot of traction, or gains a lot of hype, a lot of noise. It kind of died down lately because of the crypto thing, but penny stocks has always been something that if you can catch a stock, when it's at 10 cents, you catch it when it's at 10 cents, and if that stock decides it's the one, you get out when it's at 5 cents. You just, I don't even know the math on that, but you just made a lot of money if you put a lot more money in. So your returns will be huge, right? So penny stocks, again, same sort of thing as crypto, where penny stocks are more volatile. You're trying to capture those higher swings throughout the day, maybe throughout those fluctuations, so you can get the higher reward. The only downside of it is, in most instances, they're penny stocks for a reason. If they were higher value companies, they probably have higher value. So again, penny stocks is another high risk, high reward type of way to maneuver the market, but it depends on the person, right? So let's talk about resources, free resources, because I got you, right? So I have a beginner's course. Again, like I said in the beginning, my main reason why I do what I do is because I was once in a position where I knew that the stock market was this thing that could make money, and that was about it. I didn't know how. I didn't have anybody I could just say, "Hey, how does it work?" Didn't have that. I didn't have a lot of money, so I couldn't just throw my money out there and try to learn as I go at that stage. So I was stuck, and I went through, and like I said, I studied books, I looked at articles, videos, everything I could to start gaining the knowledge on how this thing worked. And then, once I started getting successful with it, people that are around me, they're like, wow, you're doing good. Wow, how do you teach me how to do it? So I started, kind of doing some one-on-one type mentoring, come learn with me, I guess is the way you could look at it. And then I realized, it's more people that need this knowledge because there's a lot of people who, one, don't know what the market is, but I feel like there's even more people who know it's there, but just don't know how to properly use it to their advantage. That's why we don't have it, right? Or that's why a lot more people aren't in it, is because they don't know how to do it. Because if I told you again, you can give me $1,000, or there's this system that you can put $1,000 in, and then come back 2 years later, 3 years later, and now it's at 3,000 or even 2,000, right? You say, oh crap, well, what's that? And another key thing is more people play the lottery than probably the amount of people that invest in the market. So we're interested in making money, but it seems like the focus, and I'm getting kind of off topic, but sometimes I get in these little rants. It seems like the focus is more so on how can I make a quick flip than how can I learn to create wealth through this thing that's been creating wealth in families for years. Um, Aside from that, so I created a free beginners course. Um, it's on my website. The website is going to be in the next slide. But essentially, through the free course, there's videos of me talking just like this, PowerPoints going over different things, helping you identify, from square one. Okay, to all of this stuff, where do I start? First thing in one of the videos is, figuring out what's your why, what's your reason. Again, like I said, everything you do is going to be based on you. You're going to maneuver the market differently if you're trying to build an account for your child to go to college versus if you're trying to be a millionaire trader versus if you're just trying to make some extra money to pay some bills, right? You're going to be maneuvering everything differently. So there's a free course I created, and then there's what I have called the profit calendar. All that is showing you certain stocks for that month that tend to go up during that month. So if you think about it real quick, think about something like, um, Apple, Nike, Walmart, right? Around holiday season, Christmas, Black Friday, right? Around that time is when a lot of people are hitting Apple, Nike, Walmart, right? So knowing that, look at the stock. Is the stock going up? If it is, that kind of makes a lot of sense, right? Same sort of thing with travel. People are traveling more around the summertime and more again around that holiday season and go visit their family. Look at the stock. All right. So are airlines going up? Are rental car agencies going up? Are hotel stocks going up? That's kind of the whole thought process behind you being able to identify certain stocks perform well in certain months. And again, I have a free version of this on my site for you to go and you can look at. You can fact check it if you want. But again, it's another tool I put out there because people can get the knowledge and then they, say, okay, I know what to do, sort of. I don't know what to buy. So that's something I created to kind of make it easier for you to understand what there is that you can potentially look into. And then, boom, contact info. You can feel free to email me, feel free to message me on Instagram. There's the website. I highly encourage you to go ahead, pull it up on your phone. You'll still be able to hear my voice. So pull it up on your phone. Go ahead. If you are new to the market, I say definitely start off with my free course. If you are on Instagram, definitely start off with those Instagram TV videos because I was doing Instagram lives every Saturday night, just breaking down different concepts for beginners who are completely new. So again, I want to say thank you. I'm going to go ahead, open up the chat and start going through some of these questions. Boom, let's go. Scroll up to the top. Okay. Do some research, change my. You had to do some good, John. Yes, definitely look into the 401k, man, because a lot of times you don't even know what's in there. They just automatically put the money in something for you. So I'm glad you did that. Biggest difference using an app to invest versus having someone else do it for you. So the biggest difference is in what you're expecting to get out of it. So it's just like anything else, and it comes with a certain level of responsibility, a certain level of results that you expect. So for me, having my knowledge, having my experience, I actually, when I first started my job, I actually deferred my 401k. I was like, nah, I know they're gonna put it in this fund. I can manage my money, get better return than this fund, right? I actually still have my 401k deferred. So again, it comes to a sense of, what's your comfortability level, what's your knowledge level, and then also the discipline, because when you have someone else doing it for you, it's probably a lot harder for you to say, no, pull the money, or, let me stop the automatic payments, right? Versus if you're investing on yourself, if you're more of an emotional person that sees the market making wild moves, and you want to pull your money, then get back in and pull it out. It's just a lot more for you to manage. So the biggest difference is not really about the app, right? Like the reason there's apps that you can use for investing is so that you can do it on your phone, versus having to carry around your laptop, right? So again, that's the main thing between doing it yourself and having someone do it for you, is whatever you're expecting to get out of it, your knowledge level, your comfortability level. Because again, you're investing your money, you're kind of going to probably try to take a little more care of it, maybe, than someone who, I mean, if you lose money, they're probably still getting paid anyway. Um, so there's that. Um, how much money do you need to invest to see a reasonable return? All right. Big thing. A lot of times people focus on the dollar amount and not the percentage amount. So rate of return, or your return on your investment, your ROI, that's a percentage focused thing. So you need to seek however much money you have, you need to seek out and plan out what's the necessary return for you to get whatever you deem reasonable. Everybody deems reasonable to be different. Like I said, the way I'm trying to be $1 million trader, goes about it versus somebody just trying to pay bills and somebody trying to build up for their child's college is completely different, right? Reasonable is completely different for them. So whether it's $1,000, they all can start off with 1,000. But if I'm just trying to pay bills, and I navigate the market in a way where my $1,000 brings me $400 at the end of the month, that's reasonable for me. But if you're trying to be a millionaire trader, you might try to turn that $1,000 into 5,000 by the end of the month. So focus on the rate of return. What I always tell people who are newer to investing or about to start their account, and they have some money set aside, is whatever you have set aside to start, cut it in half, right? Don't start with $1,000 if that's your initial budget for investing. Start with 500. That way, if you make those beginner mistakes, you have another thing to fall back on. Okay, the same way when you start driving, we don't start off driving our parents' brand new 2020 car. We drive the hand-me-down car, the old pickup truck, right? We start with something smaller, something older, that if it gets messed up, there is something that we can maybe fall back on. So if you starting off to invest and you have 500, you have 1,000, set aside 500, start with that, make your mistakes, go through your growing pains. Let's say you hit it hard and you killing it. Cool. Now you have another 500 that you can start scaling your account with. Because the thing is, people think money's the reason that they're not making the money necessary, and it's not. If you can't manage $100 in your account, you can't manage $1,000. You can't manage $10,000. Why do you think people that win the lottery go broke the next year? Because they don't know how to manage money. So don't focus on dollar returns. Focus on the percentage necessary to get whatever it is you need. Favorite tools, resources, books. Favorite tools, resources, and books to help you learn the fundamentals. If you're going to look at books, I'd say the Invest Your Way to Wealth is one of the key ones. The Intelligent Investor is another good book if you want to get into that. Trading in the Zone is a good book for psychology, which is a key component of investing. And those are it. As far as resources, I mean, I could just tell you the way, like I said, the way I learned was I went to the library, I typed in investing, I typed in stocks in a little search bar, and I just went and I wrote down every book and I checked out all the books. um, So that's what I did. I checked them all out, read them all, took notes on them. That's what I did. I say, as far as a resource, just get with somebody. If you know somebody who's successful, which, to be brutally honest, is weird that a lot of people come to me and say they have somebody they know that's successful with it and they won't help them. I'm like, what? Why? But reach out to me. I can be a resource. I just say reach out to people, get an accountability partner. Maybe if you have somebody that you know that trades or invests, you guys can kind of go through the journey together. Um, and Google resource. Google is a good resource. Once you pull out of a stock, when the criteria that you needed to get into the stock is no longer valid, easy enough. Or if you have a So that's what I always say is, you need to have a idea of when you're getting out when you first get in. So if you get in because of news and the news no longer applies, get out. If you're getting in because of, the stock was going crazy and I was trying to ride the wave and I had fear of missing out on the best move ever, you shouldn't have took the trade in the first place, but you should probably get out. If you were looking at a profit target, again, have an idea of where you're going to get out. So if the stock moved from $5 to $10 and you said you were going to get out at 10, see if it makes sense for the stock to move to 15. But if not, get out. So that's the main thing, is always have a plan for if it goes good, if it goes bad. And again, the main thing is to think about whether the reason you got in the stock in the first place is still valid. Strategy, road you take. Okay. Favorite out. I guess my trading view app, because I can use my charts. If you're talking about favorite brokerage, I use two. I use Robinhood still to buy shares on, and then I have Tastyworks to trade options. When is it appropriate to sell a stock? I just hit that one for you. What factors do you evaluate when you're trying to decide whether or not a stock has potential? So there's a couple of different things. Again, it relates towards you. So if we're looking at a value stock, then we might be looking more into the actual financials of the company, right? So we're looking at, how much of their money is in debt. Like, how much debt do they have compared to their income, or compared to the assets they have on hand? Is their revenue increasing? Are their sales increasing? Um, those are the type of things you want to look for. What's the best you look for when trying to find stock? Okay, cool. I'll get to that. This kind of relates to that too. So you want to look at things like that. If I'm looking for a stock to invest long term, I want to see that their sales are increasing, right? So if your sales are decreasing, why would I put money in it, right? So simple things like that that you can look at. You can look at those on Yahoo Finance, for example, can give you a lot of those numbers. As far as a growth stock, you're looking for the same type of thing, where you're looking for, increasing sales, increasing revenue, even though they might not be turning a profit yet. You're trying to look for something that has higher potential. Dividend. How do you make passive income from dividends, and what is a dividend? So, a dividend is, the way it works is like a company basically is giving you like a little kickback for investing in them. So when you put your money in a stock, you're giving the company money and saying, "Hey, make some money. I just want a little bit of the profits, or I could sell my ownership, because you are a part owner of the company when you put your money in it. Or I sell my ownership when the company is at a higher perceived value." So dividends, like I said before, they some stocks do pay them out monthly. Typically, they'll pay them out quarterly, and then some do semi-annual. But that's really all it is. So when you buy a certain stock like AT&T, Home Depot has a dividend. So a lot of companies, Coke, Pepsi, Johnson and Johnson, those companies, when you put your money in them, they'll give you a certain percentage back every year, right? Regardless of whether the stock goes up, down, stays in the same spot. So that's what a dividend is. And then the passive income from it is just the fact that, again, whether it moves up, down, left, right, you're still getting money from being invested in that stock. Another thing to keep in mind, though, when you're looking at dividends, is to not get so caught up in the dividend yield, which is the percentage that they'll be paying, because you still want the stock that's a solid choice. You don't want to get in a stock that's going like this, even though it has a 12% yield, and be like, well, I'm getting 12% anyway, but the stock's going down more than 12%. So you want to be focused, again, calculate, be calculating on everything you do. Take risk, but take calculated risk. What has worked best for you when trying to find stocks to trade? Funny you say that. I'm doing a webinar uh, on Zoom with my people tonight. So in terms of finding stocks to trade, um, couple of things. Again, I'm assuming you're talking about trade as in being more active. If anybody, I guess I didn't mention it. Investing versus trading. Investing is more a long term approach. Trading is more of a active approach, where it's day to day, week to week. So when I'm looking for stocks to trade, because I've been studying all this stuff, I have a lot of practice with it. What I do now is I have about 215 stocks, and I have them all up on a chart, or on my charting site, TradingView, that I use, or on my watch list, and I just flip through them about 3 seconds, 4 seconds on each chart. So I'll literally look at about 215 stocks in a matter of maybe 10, 15 minutes. Um, and because I know what I'm looking for, I can tell what opportunities might be out there in certain companies. So that's one of the main things I do. Second thing is, like I said, the profit counter. There's certain stocks that the past 15 years have gone up every April, right? So I look at those as well. I'm saying, okay, well, look, that might be another one that can go up this April. And then I look at it on a chart and see if the price action makes sense with that. And then I see one more question here. Any hot stocks that people should keep an eye on? So if you're looking at hot stocks, um, one of the things I say first is look for stocks that still haven't made a full recovery from that COVID drop. So like Boeing, for example, I know Boeing was in the high 300s prior to the COVID drop in the market. Right now it's sitting around 200 something, 240. It hit as low as $89. So from 89 to 240, you would have already tripled your money in a year if you got in, when it hit 80, $89. But it still has another about $100 or so to move back up. So look for opportunities like that. On a side note, I'd say look for opportunities in stocks that are still up and coming, like Snapchat, like Pinterest, maybe Uber. Um, look in things that have kind of become newer to the industry, but are still kind of being more widely accepted in the marketplace. Like, to touch on Snapchat, which I've been talking about since it was at $20, now it's at about $70. Um, is the fact that children nowadays, or the younger generation, um, don't even ask for phone numbers anymore. They just ask for Snapchats. Like, what's your Snapchat? You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, it's becoming a huge thing, and Snapchat's taking on ads. Um, and Facebook tried to buy Snapchat, which I think would have been major, because Facebook controls a lot of the social media network, but Snapchat didn't do it, which is why we have Facebook and Instagram stories. But anyway, so I say look for stocks like that are being more brought up. Um, maybe look into some IPOs, like Coinbase just IPO'd. That might be a potential opportunity. But that's the main thing, is find things that are being more widely talked about and still on the come up. And I think those are all the questions in the chat.
Yes, that is the last of the questions that I have. Thank you so much, Jourdan. I mean, I was taking notes over here. I think you did a phenomenal job helping us learn more about investing and the importance of getting into the market. So, everyone, make sure you connect with Jourdan. Make sure you follow him on Instagram. I have his information on the Facebook. So, if you click the link in the Facebook post, it'll take you right to his Instagram. And make sure you go to his website and take his course. I took his course and I think it is amazing. I mean, Jourdan, the free information you give is amazing. So, make sure if you really want to get into stocks and you're ready to make a change, it's the beginning of 2021. We're not in the middle yet. So you still have time to jump in the industry and see some growth. So I highly encourage you guys to connect with Jourdan. And thank you so much, Jourdan,
Oh, thank you.
for joining the platform. And I will be having the video on YouTube. I'll be sharing clips on the platform on Instagram, and feel free to share this live on Facebook to anyone who might benefit from this information. Thank
Thanks
you,
for having me
everybody.
again.